Now to the next keynote talk. This is on enterprise project portfolio management. The speaker is Mr. Gaurav Hazra. He's country manager for Primavera Global Business Unit in India within Oracle Corporation. He has more than 13 years of industry experience, having worked with clients in industry verticals of engineering and construction, oil and gas, power utilities and manufacturing. He's responsible for Primavera GBU India revenue and growth within the Oracle Corporation. Associated with IIM Ahmedabad as industry faculty for their management development program for project management. I invite Mr. Gaurav Hazra for his address.
A very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. And I would like to thank PMI for giving us the opportunity to share with you what we propagate in the market space today. My name is Gaurav, as the competitor introduced. I look after the Primavera business, and I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of you in this room, especially a lot of organizations that we have heard from them the last few days. The next few minutes I'll take is to share with you the importance of an enterprise project management system in the way projects are executed, in the way projects are controlled, and in the way projects move benefits to the country, to the market, and to the industry. The word enterprise, I mean, I spent a lot of time with clients in the last few years of my experience, where the word enterprise has assumed a very important proportion in their lives. The point is, I mean, if we look back, and if you think like 10 years back or maybe 12 years back in this country, we would have one email for a department of people. Can I just have the lights a little dim, please? It's kind of blinding me. Yeah. So so there would be an email that would be shared across a set of people, and it will be called a department and email. And that's probably the time when I just started off my career, and it was hard, because as an organization you would completely lose traceability and accountability of anything that goes out of the company. We are at a point in the project management system deployment where we are trying to figure out whether we should have project management as a system which is for everyone in the company, or it is a system which is only meant for the PMO. And this debate is not just in India, it has been going on across the world. There are far mature companies who have adopted project management as a true enterprise system, has given project management systems to people who really execute projects than just who plan them. And the chart on the slide actually tries and explains what is the impact of taking a project management system out of the planning room and take it to the people who actually work on the field and execute such projects. And mind you, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, when Mr. Sinha was speaking, I was actually able to correlate, because for about 12 months, I would pass by the Tata Nano plant like twice a month or thrice a month, because I had a client who was situated just close to the plant. And I had seen the plant come up, and I have seen the plant being taken down. And I mean, as a part of an organization which for the last 25 years have been doing project management and deploying systems across organization, I could completely understand what amount of project management complexity it would be to take down an automotive plant built in this century, put it into 3,000 trucks, and transfer it 1,500 kilometers. That's project management. Imagine if this was to be done by just 5 project managers, or 10 project managers, or 20 project managers. I don't think that was possible. I think it is important to understand that, just like a project is executed by many people, project management systems are also for all these people. So that's the theme of my presentation, and I'll take you through some of the slides that I have. So if you see the slide that I have on the screen, many years back we started with scheduling systems, and it was good. People said, we will have hundreds and thousands and hundred thousands of activities, building refineries and oil fields and offshores. But these activities will be controlled by experienced project managers. They will sit in a planning room. They will create these massive schedules, and we'll monitor the projects with these schedules. Excellent idea. Went on for many years. Many successful projects were built. Then over a period of time, we moved into an arena which is called project portfolio management. What it meant was we are really looking at a little higher abstraction of project management, which means that we were looking at multiple projects. So even before portfolio came in, there were people who were managing multiple projects. The reason portfolio was really important is because we would see the impact of multiple projects onto our business in a way which is like one single representation of how projects impact our respective business. And what is a good project impact? What is a bad project impact? Why would a bad project be shelved? Or why would a good project be prioritized? I think this made a fundamental change in the way corporations looked at managing the business of projects. I'll give you an example. I mean, by and large, 25% of the GDP across the world is fueled by project execution. That is the significance of executing projects in our lives, in our existence, in the existence of the industry. So it is really important that we as project managers, we as corporations, identify projects which are good, which needs to be prioritized. Projects which are not so good needs to be deprioritized, if not shelved. So this is an important step towards looking at the business of managing projects than just saying, we would manage one project very well and other project not so well. So that's a slight movement. Then in the last few years, I mean, we moved on to something where we call enterprise project portfolio management. This was a paradigm shift because for the last 30, 40 years, large projects were meant to be executed by very experienced project managers sitting in a dark room and doing the best that they could. The enterprise project portfolio management took out that knowledge and moved it to the field. This in my opinion was not just a technology shift, but a cultural shift. I mean, I had the privilege of working with a lot of organizations who was here and spoke to you, all of you. And I have seen that this is a tussle. So there's always a tussle between who would control a project, how would it move, how do I monitor? Do I monitor sitting in one room, or do I monitor the project from the field? So the impact of this really is, I mean, if you see the inclusions in the under the curve is, I mean, as we move from a pure play project management, which is by and large standalone, to an environment which is enterprise, which involves almost everybody in the ecosystem. Today, if I have to think back and say, you know what, I would give one email per 20 people in my company. Do you think that would work? I don't think we are in that, and there's no debate. We need email access. It's exactly the same thing. We need email access to execute our respective job roles. And if my respective job role is executing project, I need a system that would give me visibility in the overall corporation, give me the ability to execute my role effectively. It's as simple as that. And I think this tussle has taken us to a whole new thinking where organizations are working to give project management systems and deploy project management system in such a way that it covers the entire ecosystem, or what we call as the project management organization, beyond the planning room to the last man onto the field. And there are various enabling technologies for that. I mean, we work with clients who now want a planning tool onto a BlackBerry. And that's reality. I mean, it's very prevalent, tablet PCs and BlackBerries, because they understand and realize that people who are working in very hard project conditions may not have the comfort of coming back to a office every time and update a project and report on a project. So it is we as technology providers have been able to trying and bridge that gap of giving access to people in such a way that they are able to execute their projects and yet be a part of a large deployed system. The impact really is that when we move to enterprise, we are seeing more and more strategic elements of project management being seen under the same screen. For instance, maybe 20 years back, it was very hard for the finance organization to really see the cash flow impact of project milestone shifts. Today it is very easy to see because everybody is on the same enterprise project management system. So what you see on the last column is the strategic elements that got added over a period of time as we move from project management to an enterprise project management environment. What really are the imperatives today? I mean, we work with a lot of companies, and I mean, everybody has the same set of imperatives as far as the running the business is concerned. Every company wants to grow. Every company wants to accelerate growth. I mean, we heard L&T on the dais on the first day. The amount of growth that they're looking at is phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. And I mean, we have seen the power boom in the country. We have seen the infrastructure boom in the country. There are organizations who have grown 20, 30, 40 times in the last 10 years. So there is a sheer hunger to grow, which is there, and much more prevalent in this country than anywhere in the world, where the growth has more or less stabilized. We are looking at process improvements than sheer growth. The company, all organizations wants to manage risk. Mr. Sinha spoke about the nano, and I don't know how many people had read the book. The book is all about mitigating risk. It's just about risk. Imagine if by any chance, fortunately, they would have known the risk, we would have had this marvelous product 2 years before in the market. I mean, that's why organizations want to manage risk, and it is becoming an increasing component, a very important component of project execution. And mind you, ladies and gentlemen, managing risk is not just analyzing risk in a small room. It has to flow down to the people who actually execute the project, and it has to become a way of life in their own dimensions to manage risk. And that is why it is extremely important that we take systems and we enable people with systems and solutions that actually enable them to drive these factors in their way of life. The uncertainties are increasing as such, and there is huge amount of competition. The most important factor is the people. I mean, we have had a lot of eminent speakers here speaking about managing people in projects. One of the key things that when we worked with these clients and we listened to the executives, I think the key thing that's come out over the last few years that I have interacted with them is enabling people. Rewarding people is one side of the corporate culture. You reward people who are good. You bring them in. You make them feel engaged in the organization. At the same time, how do you really make them engaged? You actually enable them with systems and processes that makes their job execution easier. An enterprise project management system, in our opinion, is a large step towards that. I mean, imagine the thousands of project managers working on the field, making these large mammoth offshores and refineries. Imagine if you could save 30 minutes in a day in their lives. That's productivity. That's real value add into their job role. And we firmly believe that a good system and a system that gives them the ability to execute their job roles better go a long way in amplifying talent in an organization. And this is the way the best of the project execution organizations have looked at systems. I mean, I had the opportunity to interact a bit with Shell and British Petroleum and Bechtel in my career with Primavera, but the point really is they just don't look at it as a control system. They are looking at enterprise project management system as a tool to develop their entire organization maturity to deliver projects effectively. So what does every organization really want? I mean, what you saw was I call it the over-the-line goals. You know, what do they really want? They want to respond to changes really quick. And they want to deal effectively with increasing complexity. They want to deliver on the promised ROIs to their colleagues, to their employees, to their customers. They always want to do timely course correction or cancel failing projects. They want to replicate successful projects. They want to work productively and collaboratively. And they want to fully automate cross-functional processes. Now, what does this really mean? This really means that we are trying to tie up a whole organization and making them accountable for the successful delivery of the product, which is a project. I mean, if we go back to a large project-intensive company, their product is delivering a successful project. So if we could have systems in discrete manufacturing to do shop floor control, why can't we have a system which to do project control? I mean, it's a simple argument in my opinion. And you know, I came from a very strong manufacturing background, having worked with most of the automotive companies setting up PLM systems for many years. And you know, there is so much of discipline in discrete manufacturing in the way they manage their processes. And I think we are at a point in the project execution industry where we are looking to productize successful projects. And that is key success, because if we are able to productize the way projects succeed, we can do much more projects with the same number of people, maybe with a little incremental investment. And as a nation, we can be much more on time, much more on budget, improve quality of life. I think that's the key here. So most organizations, the way they look at a tool, they look at the way they enable people to contribute to project is they measure it by their ability to respond to changes. I mean, I worked with a company, and I will not name the client, very, very, very large company. It's a $6 billion organization in India. They make equipments for power industry and a lot of other things. In a review, I mean, I had the opportunity of attending few of their management committee meetings, and somebody asked, can you give us a look-ahead schedule for 7 days? Somebody very senior. Can you tell us what are you going to do for these 10 projects? Because these 10 projects are being monitored by the government. We want to know how are you going to do anything for the next 15 days. They said it's going to take us 8 days to give you the 15-day lookout. And this is serious stuff, because it was, I mean, they were an organization of 50,000 people with 9,000 people somewhere connected to projects directly, and the balance in manufacturing and other things. And this is reality. So the ability to respond to change and ability to respond to a request for information is becoming so important. Today, I can't imagine somebody trying to tell me, you know, that one of my people that, you know, I would give you an information 8 days from now. I'll simply quit and go. So I think systems actually drive our ability to respond. Systems drive our ability to react quickly, and at the same time, systems really drive our ability to do course correction. What is important is, if we are looking at project management as an overall responsibility of the organization, why not deploy a system that enables the whole organization than just a group of people? I think this is a paradigm shift, especially in our country. This is a real paradigm shift, because even today, organizations, it's becoming harder and harder for them to believe that project management systems are meant for people at the field and not just for the people who are in the, you know, in the white collar roles in the offices planning a project. It is not. And these are some of the things that they want, and these are some of the things that drive the deployment of very complex, large, but very pervasive project management systems today. This is a slide which I like. I mean, if you see, this is about the change, the technology adoption that happened in the world. You know, it took about about 50 years, 45 years for phones to reach a 50% adoption rate. And it took a total of another 25 years to reach a 90% adoption rate. The same with television and the same with cell phones. I mean, we have seen the cell phone booms in India. I mean, it's remarkable. I mean, when I just joined service, there was no cell phones. And today, I mean, I think everybody has a cell phone. It's not been a long time. I mean, I have gray hairs, but it's not been a long time. So, you know, we have reached 90% adoption in cell phones, if not in India, but globally. The point here is, this is the pace of change. And even if, because the project industry is so large and so humongous, that we are not able to see the change so well. But the fact is, it has changed, and it has changed so much in its complexity that as corporations, we are struggling to put systems and controls in place. I mean, I'll take you through some of the compliances that people are looking at. So how would the project industry really respond to this, to change? They want everything top-down now. If you listen to executives today, all project-intensive companies, the only thing senior executives want to talk is how are they going to manage and risk mitigate projects. I mean, I had the opportunity of working with most of the senior execs that you see in the Indian industry. I mean, not outside though, but apart from P&L, apart from profit and loss, I think the most significant thing that they are worried about is what is the impact if my projects get delayed? What is the impact on my bottom line? What is the impact on my credibility? They're more concerned about the credibility than the bottom line, because they can still make up the bottom line from other lines of businesses. But if they lose credibility, it is very hard to make it up. And they're really, really concerned. They're really concerned. Enterprise control. It is, all organizations want to look at enterprise control on projects. They do not want to do over-the-wall project management anymore. So everybody is looking at the fact that project, every employee who's related to the project organization is a contributor to the project, is accountable for the project, and hence it is important that systems are designed in such a way that the last individual on the field is able to effectively contribute to the successful delivery of the project. So enterprise control is really important. Where are we going wrong? Who's accountable? How do we do course correction? How does the financial work over the project delays? How do I manage my cash flow? How do I manage my market borrowings? How do I manage my risk? Every large project, in some manner, is executed on public money, in some manner, directly or indirectly. Even if corporations are borrowing money, there's a cost of money, and it is money which is going out of the population. So it is very important that organizations are responsible to identify, report, and mitigate risk as they use such huge funds to manage projects which contribute to GDPs. Corporate baseline plans, I mean, there has to be, the way organizations are responding to it, they are saying that we would set up baselines in such a way that we can measure project more effectively. I mean, I really loved the statement that Mr. Sinha made, saying that what gets measured gets done. Incidentally, this year, the theme within Oracle to improve performance, improve compliance is actually what gets measured gets done. That's the theme Oracle has taken up this year, and it's so true, because if I set my measurement criteria in such a way that it is loose enough that I am not able to see the gaps, I would never be able to do well in my projects. So it is really important that as corporations, people look at projects and they set up baselines and they set up the criteria, the way the projects are going to be managed and monitored in the months to come. Progress measurement and reporting, extremely critical. A few years back, progress reporting would be the responsibility of the PMO. And the PMO would come to the corporate execs and talk about how a project is doing. But today, progress reporting is a roll-up from the last man on the field. And there is a distribution of control. There is a sea change in the culture of organizations, and I'm glad that a lot of large companies are able to appreciate the need of that change. Because in their opinion, if we do monitoring and progress reporting, sitting in the office, we are not really letting people participate in managing their own progress. Unless I know what I'm doing and how am I progressing against what I plan, how do you think that I'll be able to report progress in a way that the organization understands how am I doing? I have to know first what am I doing and how am I doing. I think this is really key, and this really drives the percolation of systems to more and more people within the organization. I'm so sorry. Okay, so what's the reality today? I mean, unfortunately or whatever, the project execution industry is still a little haphazard because of the size of the projects that we do, because of the lack of control in certain points, the lack of I would say systems in certain points. Sometimes there's a lack of business alignment. I mean, I met a client a couple of years back in the UK, and he had a huge problem. They were a big European car manufacturer. They said, we have two engine design offices, one in the US and one in the Europe, because they acquired another company in the US. And we figured out that there are 30% projects which has exactly the same goals across these two organizations. And imagine the cost of developing engine projects in Europe and in the US, and you have the same goals out of the two R&D centers. So which means that there is a complete lack of visibility on the portfolio. This is a project management issue. This is not an innovation issue. Both the organizations are doing their best in innovating the best for the organization. But the fact is, as a corporation, I am actually wasting those resources because they are achieving this identical, they're working on exactly identical goals. So this is an issue of alignment. Low predictability in execution and performance. More than often, in fact, most often, most project companies are sometimes reactive. They're not reactive by choice. They are limited by their visibility and their ability to be proactive by systems. And every senior executive today wants to be proactive in, they don't want surprises. They want to know what is going to happen in this project in the next 6 months or the next 2 years or next 1 month. But sometimes they are really limited because the way the systems percolate really do not help them have that visibility, which actually is reactionary mode of operation, and inconsistency in business decisions. So sometimes we see that projects get taken up for various reasons, and there is a even if you have taken up a project, it becomes hard for an organization to really shelf a project because it's not doing well. The reason for this is that if we have factual data coming out from a large system in an organization, it is much easier to take such a decision. That, okay, we started this project is not as per our goal, let's deprioritize it, let's move key resources into another project. Now, we do this in some manner, but imagine if we have one single system which gives that visibility to people, not just at the boardroom, but people who are actually managing the project. And it helps us so much. So that's one of the things that we are looking at today. I'm so sorry. Yeah. So lack of alignment, unclear reasons of approving and canceling projects. I mean, sometimes organizations really they take up projects without actually seeing the risk, without actually seeing what is going to come in the next 6 or 8 months. Projects have unrealistic estimates and unachievable promises. We get aggressive when we actually make projections. That's a trend. And some projects really do not do well because they have unachievable estimates. You cannot make a car in 12 months. You can't. The best NPD achieved ever in the world was for the new Corolla, which was 18 months. you just can't make a car in 5 months, no matter if you put 1,000 people. So we have to have realistic estimates and realistic projections. Mismatch budgets and actual cost. Either, we have seen there's a lot of organizations who either do a huge amount of budget or they under budget projects, and then the actual cost and the budget never match up. And there's a huge gap, and we talk about actual versus budgeted and budgeted versus actual. Low or no visibility into projects. This is really key. Alignment is not a one-time operation. Alignment in projects is a continuous operation, which means that we will align a project when we'll align a project to a corporate goal when we start off a project, but it is also important to go and check the alignment over a period of time, just to make sure that the project is well aligned during its course with the objective that you set. This, in the way we work with clients and our experience, this is only possible when the whole corporation has visibility on exactly what is happening on all the projects. Only then you can go back and do course correction, you can align and realign and things like that. Okay, lack of predictability, no visibility into skills and qualification needed. There's a big gap today. I mean, if we see India, I mean, I work with so many construction companies, and the single most problem in hand is the availability of people. And the availability of people at the right time. We can buy equipment, we can buy the best technology, we can do JVs, get technologies bought from all over the world, but where are the people? So it is extremely important that as we plan projects, we are able to predict the skill sets that we need, not just for one project, but for all the projects. That brings us back to the element of visibility and coherency across the organization, which is in the business of delivering projects. Project baseline doesn't resemble real work. Very, very common problem. Project risks are not acknowledged and recorded. Many a times, especially in India, we are really scared about talking about project risk. I mean, if you look at, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you had worked outside of India, and if you see, it is imperative for large organizations outside India to report the possible risk on a project to the government, to regulatory bodies, and that is because, in a way, they are working on public funds, and the project has impact beyond their respective companies. So project risks are not acknowledged and recorded. No warning when project deviates from plan. I'll tell you a small example. Like a couple of months back, I was working with a very, very large company, and there's a project finish date, and they would always change the project finish date on the finish date. And this is reality. And I mean, not that I was shocked. I mean, I thought it is their culture. But what I figured out was that when we actually, I really asked them, why do you do this? Why do you have to wait till 30th December to say that the project is not going to finish on 30th December? I mean, you're not sales guys. I understand sales guys do this all the time, but why do you do this? They said because when we do make a project date change, the onus comes back to the project manager. And because of which, more than often, sometimes the project manager gets penalized. And that's why he would never tell that the project is getting delayed till the time it's actually important for him to shift the date. So this brings us to a very important point of distributed accountability. It is important in a project that accountability is distributed in a way that there's an upstream accountability and there's a downstream accountability. A project manager by himself will not be able to do anything if people who are actually executing the project, the subcontractors, the equipments that he's using, is not functioning the way he wants it to function. And a system drives accountability. And I think that is, we are getting one step more closer to the fact that organizations look at systems to drive distributed accountability. Reactionary mode of operation. When organizations operate in reactionary mode, no acknowledgement and analysis of risk. There is no time. There is no time to do analysis. Everybody in a reactionary mode of operation would run after to resolve an issue, which would not have been an issue had it been analyzed in the beginning. And assumptions not shared between functional groups. sometimes, the site doesn't, we do so many things at the site, we just take decisions because the site is the factory. And the assumptions that the site makes, or the assumptions that the planning team makes or the engineering team makes doesn't really get transferred to the other groups. And because of which, there's a huge loss of productivity in those groups. I made an assumption, I didn't come and tell you, you work on your own assumption. It's a loss of productivity for both of us. Systems help us communicate, and I think that is, communication is one of the key things in project success today. Surprises when risk events are triggered. Surprises is the biggest risk in managing large projects, and no organization would like to have surprise, no organization. And the reason companies are moving towards more, I would say, more pervasive systems is to avoid surprises. And that is really driving our business, that is really driving the percolation of enterprise PPM into the market space. No mitigation plans in advance. Because I don't have visibility into what I'm trying to do. I have no time to analyze. I have no systems to tell me when did I go wrong, what did I do, and how am I going to implement those learnings into mitigating future projects. Lack of PPM governance. There's been so much of governance that we have seen in the financial world in terms of revenue recognition, in terms of the way money is being controlled, in terms of the way corporate responsibility is controlled towards books and accounts and things like that. There's still a long way to go when it comes to PPM governance. There is some amount of IT governance that we have seen in the last few years. There's huge amount of financial governance that we have seen, the SOX Act and the GAP and all of that. But even today, the project governance, there's a big gap. And project governance essentially come from the implementation of systems. If I do not have a system that gives me an insight into the way my projects are happening, I cannot really implement and percolate a governance mechanism. Ad hoc selection and approval process projects are a big problem. Lack of alignment with strategic objectives, major problem. Sometimes projects are just picked up because a certain part of the powerhouse within an organization wants to do the project. It happens sometimes. Mismanaged process of securing fund and resources, duplicate initiative and application throughout the organization. I gave you an example of the European car company, and this came from the guy who was responsible for integrating the two centers. He said, I have to rationalize 20% of my projects because they are duplicate initiatives. Inconsistent communication of goals, progress, and ROI. Inconsistent reporting of progress is a huge problem. From the time the progress from the field goes to the project manager, from there it goes to the PMO and to the corporate, there is huge consistency because the information is either old or it is interpreted in different manners. So a system like an enterprise system actually brings in consistency. It gives one version of truth to everybody who's contributing in the project. It is not just for control. Mind you, ladies and gentlemen, it is to improve your own ability to execute your job role. It should not be looked at a management tool and management is trying to control a project. It is not so. Lack of timely update causes payment delays. If I'm not able to report completion of work in time in the way that management recognizes it, my contractors are not going to get paid. They're not going to get paid, they're not going to execute their jobs. It is extremely important that progress is reported in a manner that it can be converted into a financial performance for people who are working on for it. So what are organizations doing to overcome these challenges? Organizations need alignment to successfully manage projects and portfolios. Fund the right projects, mitigate risks, correct underperforming projects, ensure compliance with governance, attract, retain, and motivate the best talent, manage costs to improve profit margin, manage by expectation. I think, if organizations, most organizations are working towards this, and they have implemented various systems in the financial part of their business to mitigate risk on the financial side of their operations. The point really is that they're really looking at large PPM ecosystems to be working cohesively to do all of these things. And a solution which kind of goes to everybody in the organization, everybody in the project organization, really helps such organization to manage projects cohesively, like a product. It's like I manufacture refineries every 3 years. It's exactly the same. So a single integrated business management solution, alignment with strategy, balance of risk and rewards, monitored execution and compliance, actionable business intelligence. Actionable business intelligence is extremely important. I mean, so often we see hundreds of reports pouring into the boardrooms, right? I mean, there's so many reports. I mean, there's so much of analysis that people do, and all these reports actually end up into the boardroom in some manner. The point is, how much of such BI is actually actionable? I'll tell you, very few. The reason is, more than often, the people who are actually examining these reports would not be able to see why did something go wrong. They know that something has gone wrong, but they do not know why it has gone wrong. And what is the root cause of the problem? Because there's a disconnect between the report that is coming in, and there's a strong disconnect between why the report is coming in. A system drives that consistency. It really drives that consistency. And we have seen it successful in many, many organizations across the globe. Ensure traceability. As I said, traceability is really important. Distributed accountability is key to productize project execution. I mean, I can't execute 5 refineries or 6 airports with 20, 30, or 100 project managers sitting in one place. It's impossible. And of course, capture lesson learned. I mean, we have to capture the methodology of doing a particular activity successfully. I mean, if we look at discrete manufacturing organization, we spoke of Nissan this morning, or we spoke of Suzuki this morning, Tata Motors. Discrete manufacturing is an industry where every process is captured, documented, and repeated. It thrives on repetition of successful processes. That's the way discrete manufacturing works. It is not so much in the project industry. There's still a lack of system that effectively capture methods and processes to do a particular task in the most time-efficient, cost-efficient manner, and then repeat it and make it standard. Standardization, we talk about standardization a lot, but standardization, execution of standardization is becoming a bottleneck. Systems drive organization to execute standardization, and that's really important. So what is integrated project delivery? I picked up this definition from a journal. Integrated project delivery is the approach that integrates people, system, business structure, and practices into a process that collaboratively harnesses the talents and insight of all participants to reduce waste and optimize efficiency through all phases of design, fabrication, and construction. There are few things very important here. I mean, this is a very, very thoughtful definition. The insights of all participants is the key. Unless I have all my people participate in the successful delivery of a project, unless I enable them to successfully deliver projects, I don't think as corporations or organizations, we would be able to productize project delivery. It has to be in the way of life, and systems give you that visibility, give you that flexibility, give you that ability to improve your own job role, improve the way you do a particular task. And that's why it is becoming essentially important for organization to move project systems out of the planning room onto the field. I mean, I worked with in the last 6 months or so with a very, very renowned EPC company in India. And we went to the board. There were 2 very senior gentlemen, very, very senior gentlemen, both of them directors on the board. One of them said, Gaurav, the only thing that I need, I can buy any software in the world. I have the money, I have the understanding, and I have the ability to implement. The only thing that I need is a tool that the project manager can use from a pocket device. And it was such a simple requirement. It cost $10 to enable a project manager standing at 50 degrees centigrade to update his project plan and see what he has to do on a handheld device. And that's enablement. Imagine how much his life is becoming simple by the fact that he can pull out his phone and see what he has to do in the next 2 days, if there's a warning, and report. It's like we checking an email or on a BlackBerry. It's as simple as that. But that is huge productivity for him. And if he's productive, your project is successful. And this is enterprise. This is truly enterprise. Let us not worry about the tools that they call themselves enterprise, or we who sell enterprise tools. But it is about enabling the enterprise. So a single management system is a necessity. Absolute alignment between strategy, execution, and results. What gets measured gets done is really, really important here. Manage the program life cycle from idea to execution. I mean, because I worked so many years in the discrete manufacturing industry, I did implementation of systems which are called PLM, product lifecycle management. Only 10% of ideas, or maybe less than that, actually become a product. I mean, we all know that that's a given study. The more important thing is the way ideas to execution are managed have got minimum control in terms of cost, time, and productivity. Imagine if we are able to fine-tune the whole process of idea to execution in a way that we are able to hit 20% more ideas into a product or into a successful execution. As an industry, we would be much more productive, much more effective in the way we manage projects. Project cost control and financial management getting extremely, extremely important in today's world, especially in what we saw in the last couple of years. I mean, we have seen very, very large corporations going through very difficult times, and cost control, project control is becoming so important for them because not so much in India, but outside India, companies are really operating on wafer-thin margins. They're really, really operating on wafer-thin margin. One project, if they miss one project and it goes wrong, it can jeopardize the existing of a large company. And it's that serious. The important thing here is cost and cost control is no longer just a function of the CFO office. It is on to the project managers to know where are they going wrong, what is the impact of the delay on the organization's performance as far as cost and financials is concerned. That is only possible when you have a system that gives them the required visibility in whatever way. Transparency and visibility and control into business selections, business decisions, very important. Internal, external resource management. So if you look at this slide, there's a lot of clutter on this slide, but what the point really is, a whole project execution starts from the people who actually get the project to the people who plan and design systems are just deployed at the PMO. And it is not really working out. Project management systems have to go outside the PMO more than inside the PMO. And it's a very difficult decision for companies because it is a cultural shift more than the money, more than the IT investment required. So an enterprise project management system creates coherent and complete solution. We have the ERPs and the PPMs and the BI analytics of this world. Brings together PPM processes, project financial management. The cost overlay is becoming so important on projects. Skill and inventory management, supply chain, etc. We see power plants. I think 60% or 70% of a thermal power plant is actually supplies. And managing supplies as a project is becoming very important. Provides end-to-end visibility and control, provides consolidated view of enterprise portfolios. It is not just one project. It is the hundreds of projects an organization do that impacts their performance and their corporate responsibility towards execution of successful projects. Alignment with strategy, clearly identify strategic objectives, use key performance indicators, perform waterline analysis on project portfolios, adequately fund selected projects and portfolios, correct, suspend, and cancel non-performing projects. This is all about visibility. We cannot achieve any one of these unless the organization has visibility to the last degree possible. At every level, it's not just that the CEO has to have visibility. Even the project manager has to have visibility. And that is why a system is important to give distributed visibility at every point. It is really, really, really crucial. Balance risk and reward, clearly document project risk and rewards, clearly create mitigation plans, base decision making on risk and reward KPIs, capture basis of estimates and decisions. It is key that when we start a new project today, we are able to go back and see what really happened in the last projects. That is where systems play a big role, because systems enable us to look back into what we did wrong and correct them, and also helps us analyze that if there's something goes wrong, how do I actually go and mitigate that. Monitor execution and compliance, monitor project status and progress regularly, ensure processes are followed as designed. Systems are important to manage that compliance of what I plan, what I design, I should just follow that process. Because processes are designed after a lot of thought, after a lot of investments, managed by exception, alert and notify when thresholds are exceeded. Very, very important. I mean, no surprises. We want to know a bad news first. I mean, all management, I mean, I've worked with few, all of them say, I want the bad news first. Proactively resolve issues. A system enables you to get the bad news first, which is not a good thing to have a bad news, but is very important in course correction. Actionable business intelligence, I talked about actionable business intelligence. Role-specific dashboards that provide insight. Secure access to view and take actions. Collaborate cross-functionality of success. Ensure traceability. Preserve relative connections between previously disconnected business systems. I mean, we have so many systems, and it is important that all of these systems are effectively connected in a way that they can ensure successful project delivery. Record changes in information, who, what, when. Who changed it, what went wrong, and when was it changed. Capture lessons learned. Capture historical data and lessons learned. Mitigate future risk. I spoke about it. Improve the organization's ability to execute. Make project success repeatable. So what we're looking at is we are looking at enabling the whole organization with systems, with a tool called enterprise project management in such a way that project management, or rather project delivery, is not an ad hoc mechanism. It is a productized way of delivering successful projects. So what really happens? I mean, once we look at such an implementation, after an organization has gone through such an implementation, accurate and enterprise-wide visibility, locate and capitalize on talent, financial governance and compliance, real-time program and project management, full life cycle, true single source of record. So what we are looking at a single point of truth in all of this in managing our projects. PPM is increasingly an enterprise-wide application. The reason is, as I said from the beginning, delivering successful project is not just a PMO's responsibility. It is the responsibility of the entire organization, which is so true. So why not have a system which enables the entire organization to be more efficient? Manage with competing priorities and limited resources, deliver project faster without sacrificing quality, collaborate cross-functional functionality to manage complexity, automate business process to support governance. I think these are some of the things that effective systems drive, which makes not just project management organizations more mature, but more effective and more productive in the way they manage projects. So I've come to an end of my presentation, and time permitting, I'll take some questions. I'll take them later. I'm here in the day.